The 93-94 NBA season brought the end of an era. The Lakers missed the playoffs for the first time in 18 years.
And while that's not particularly surprising, since all teams have ups and downs, what is surprising is that they largely blamed a player who had been with the team for many of those successful years.
After being diagnosed with HIV in 1991, Magic Johnson retired from the Lakers. 3 years later, he returned as the head coach to finish out the 94 season.
And things started out well. The Lakers won 5 of the first 6 games with Magic Johnson at the helm. Things went south thereafter, though, and they lost their last 10 games. Magic Johnson retired from head coach of the Lakers with a record of 5-11.
Another head coach, Andy Reid's story couldn't be more different. He started out his collegiate career at Glendale Community College and then transferred to BYU, where he rarely saw the field.
But what he did see at BYU was the coaching style and system of Lavelle Edwards, one of the greatest head coaches in college football history.
After he finished up playing, he started his career coaching. Andy Reid has since gone on to become the only head coach in NFL history to win 100 games with 2 separate teams.
He spent the last 10 seasons with the Kansas City Chiefs and has led them to the Super Bowl in 3 of the last 4 years, winning the Super Bowl 2 of those years.
So looking at these 2 stories, what can we learn about the difference between great coaches and great players?
I had the chance to talk a little bit about that with Emily Lunt, the head coach for the Southern Utah University women's lacrosse team. Hope you enjoy the interview.
Welcome to the Living Life Our Way podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping you live intentionally. Our goal is to take back control of our lives by living life on our terms. Join us as we work towards living life our way.
All right, so I'm Troy, here today with Emily Lunt, who, in addition to being my daughter, is the current head coach of the women's lacrosse team down at Southern Utah University. Scobirds.
There
we go. And we are excited to talk with her a little bit about her experience of transitioning from player to coach. So Emily was a great high school lacrosse player and played some lacrosse in college as well. She was approached recently about starting a program down at Southern Utah University that did not have a program before, and she accepted the challenge, and for the last several months has been working to recruit players, to put together funding, and to assemble a team to represent Southern Utah University. So Emily, there are some players who are excellent players, but when they try to transition to coaching, they don't find success. Why do you think that is?
Some players, I think, are very focused on developing the fundamentals and developing their skills as individual players, and at the same time have less appreciation and maybe even awareness of everything that's going into the development of the team.
That makes sense. So what experiences have you had that you think maybe give you a better perspective on focusing on those team systems than maybe other players have?
Yeah, well, I think I've played for, over 10 years, and I've had the opportunity to play on a lot of different teams and work with a lot of different coaches. And there's a significant difference between the teams that I've played on and the cultures they have. And so that's given me the opportunity to really pick and choose what types of teams I want to participate on based on what their cultures look like and what their goals are.
Great. And so maybe let's talk a little bit about the Southern Utah University women's lacrosse program and your team and what you've experienced down there and what you're trying to build. So tell us a little bit about the history of you getting started there, and then we can talk a bit more about what you're building.
Sure. So there's a group of girls that wanted to get a team started. A men's team had gotten started a couple years ago, and so the men's team had a table set up at an event, and a bunch of girls had gone up to them. The men's team had gathered numbers, me being one of them, but feeling like my time as a player had kind of expired. I just let them know I'd love to help in any way I can. And at the first meeting these girls put together, they said, we need to find a coach. And the president of the club said, does anyone have coaching experience? And I let them know I have coaching experience and I don't intend to play. And I coached a little bit of middle school when I was in high school and then helped a little bit with some high school club teams. So very minimal coaching experience, but honestly, the opportunity seemed pretty exciting, pretty low pressure because it was a brand new team. And so I just thought I'd I'd go ahead and give it a try. And they were excited to have someone who they didn't need to, pay a lot of money, or someone who was just willing to jump in and help.
Great. And so you saw this opportunity. What have you seen? Maybe first off, what have you seen are some of the challenges of trying to build the culture that you were talking about?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because none of the girls on my team came to SU to play lacrosse, because this team got created in the middle of the fall semester. And so it's really interesting working with these girls, because there's a whole range of motivations and drives that these girls have. Some are really interested in making friends, and some are really interested in developing as a lacrosse player. So it's been kind of trying to take what my expectations would be for the team, and then also taking into account their expectations and dropping to kind of where they're at and trying to lift them from there.
Sure. And sounds like you have players with different experience levels, probably different skill levels. What have you done to try to mesh them into a culture that lets everybody move at the pace that they want to move, so to speak?
Yeah, I think a big thing is I've got 3 great captains, three girls who I saw were there to have fun, already have really great lacrosse skills developed, and we're just really had a positive outlook on this team with, expectations to just have a great culture. And so we've got girls who are brand new and have never played before, and my captains are a huge help with really bringing those girls in and showing them that lacrosse is more than just if you're, a developed player, a new player. It's a lot more about, teamwork and friendship, and making this community of kind of a family community feel.
Great. And one of the things that we are focused on is this idea of being intentional, or defining what outcomes or what success looks like. Tell us a little bit about the process that you went through, both in defining and working with your team to define that, and then also making sure that was communicated in a way that you got buy-in from the team on that.
Yeah, well, I think my expectations, kind of the expectations that I had defined from the beginning, were, we're going to go out, I've got a lot of talented players, we're going to win games, and we're going to just have this amazing, successful first year. And I quickly found out that, not only do we have all these new girls who are learning, but it also takes a, considerable amount of time and effort to build that chemistry on the field. And so maybe that focus isn't really going to be the best for the team, and we'd be leaving some girls behind. So I really had to change my outlook about the way that I was coaching the team in empowering them to just, come to practice and be willing to put work in and support each other, so that at the end of the day, we're playing these games, and even if we're getting smashed, we're still, having fun on the field together, and we're feeling proud of the effort that we've put in and the work we've done, regardless of what's on the scoreboard.
Sounds great. And what about balancing out those needs and desires that the more advanced players have with those of the players that are just trying lacrosse for the first time?
Yeah, I think something that's actually helped is some of these trainings that I've facilitated off the field. Trainings focused on intentionality and compassion, really bringing the team together and helping them, with the goal of helping them understand that when a team leaves girls that maybe have lower expectations or who are brand new and don't have expectations behind, and progress quicker and faster and further than them, it really is damaging to the team. And so I've tried to really help the team understand that together is where we're going to have the best success and be able to work together the best. And I think that's those advanced girls who have been playing probably just as long as I have really picked up on that concept, and they've been awesome with girls of any motivations or skill level.
And that makes a lot of sense. I guess as sort of a follow-up, most teams have the goal, or the dream at least, of winning the championship, going undefeated and winning all their games. It sounds like it became evident to you pretty quickly that was not going to be the case, but it sounds like there were some really positive things that came out of that by aligning your definition of success with where the team was and what they were likely to be able to accomplish. Tell us a little bit about some of the benefits of recognizing that winning a championship wasn't really the measure of success for this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the start of the experience that we've had really showed to us that winning, going out and winning games and winning a championship wasn't going to be a realistic goal for us because, we've got 10 experienced players showing up and then 7 who have literally never picked up a lacrosse stick showing up. And so in focusing on wins and having that be the main drive of our practices and our time together, I think we would have lost a lot of girls and may not have been able to even carry out a program. And so just realizing that, that for this year, that's not going to be a goal that's going to take us anywhere.
That sounds great. And so just to be clear, as you were sort of designing what success looks like, you had to look and say, what does success really look like for the program where it is? And success to some extent was survival. You had to have enough players willing to play, willing to come to practices in order to just survive. So that became a determinant in what your goals could be. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, correct. I mean, you've got these brand new girls, and if they thought that the expectation was for us to go and win a bunch of games, they're going to feel completely discouraged because lacrosse is not something you just pick up super quick and easy. But by changing that culture, it's really given them a fun space to learn something that they probably at first thought that they never get. And now we've got these girls who are on the field in games, playing side by side with these girls who have played for years. And it's a really cool thing to see.
That's awesome. So final question is, what is this experience and what has the process of having to redefine success for the team? What has that taught you about your personal life, or how has that impacted your personal life and the way you approach your goals?
Sure. I think sometimes it's important to take a look at the expectations that I have in my life and to make sure that, one, those expectations are really what's going to bring me success in my life. And then two, when I find out, realistic goals that are going to actually add meaning to my life, making sure that the systems that I'm putting in place in my life, just like the systems I put in place at practice and in team bonding activities, really bring that, bring those, that overall expectation and those goals to life. And that's really where you're able to find meaning in life. That's where these girls are able to find meaning in playing on this lacrosse team.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate all the work you've put in to facilitate the team and to see the successes that you've already had. So congratulations. Thanks for taking a little bit of time to talk with us, and continued good luck for the women's lacrosse team down at Southern Utah University.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Hope you enjoyed today's episode. In the future, we'll be having other exciting guests on the show. Subscribe to be notified when those shows go live.